Shout out to Darian McNeil for sending me this story. Now, this is a person that we have not talked about in a very long time. And this is, first off, on the right is Rekia Boyd. As you know, she was brutally murdered by this former Chicago cop by the name of Dante Servin a few years ago. Well, we know what the outcome of that particular case was. Well, now Dante Servin is pretty much at this point, he's hurting right now. And the reason why I say he's hurting right now is because he wants the charges that is on his record pretty much for life to be wiped away completely, apparently because he wants a fresh start. Hell no. Let them things stay on there. After all, to my knowledge, he didn't really do any jail time. He pretty much got a slap on the wrist, but he just can't shake these charges. And to me, it sounds like he might be having struggles trying to get gainful employment. And that's probably why he wants them on there. Otherwise, why would he say he wants a fresh start? Because this incident right here is literally following him everywhere he goes in every facet of his life. So if he's suffering right now because of that, I say so be it. I'm going to go ahead and read this article from Atlanta Black Star. The attorney for a former Chicago officer who quit the force after fatally shooting innocent bystander Rekia Boyd is now fighting to give his client the fresh start he deserves. Listen to that, fresh start he deserves. He don't deserve no fresh start. He killed this woman and didn't get not one bit of jail time behind it. Chicago prosecutors aren't here for, however, and neither is the victim's family. Dante Servin escaped an involuntary manslaughter conviction after a judge acquitted him in a bench trial, arguing the then officer should have been charged with murder in Boyd's 2012 killing, the Chicago Tribune reported. So basically what they're saying is they felt that he was undercharged and that's why he wasn't found guilty. That's very rare because usually some people will overcharge or they'll go with that murder one and they'll be found guilty and say, oh, they should have went with manslaughter. Since then, Servin's lawyer says this client has been tormented and wants all evidence of the criminal case against him erased from public record. I would like to know what his definition of tormented is, because I'm almost certain that her family, Rekia Boyd's family, has suffered way worse. After all, they lost a loved one. He did not, and he's still breathing. To me, it just sounds like he just can't find work. Matt Fackery, and I probably messed his name up, his attorney claims the 51-year-old has struggled to find a steady job. What did I tell you? And now suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and extreme depression. Expungement, he said, would be an important step in helping the disgraced cop rebuild his life after fallout over the shooting. Now, mind you, this happened back in 2012. It is now 2019. We're talking 7 years later. So you mean to tell me he has not found gainful employment in 7 years? And it makes me wonder, how has he been getting by for all this time? Something tells me them GoFundMe donations have dried up if he has received any. We're trying to get him the fresh start he deserves, the attorney said to the newspaper. If successful, evidence of prior charges against Servin would vanish from both public view and police databases, making it possible for him to enter the law enforcement again. That's what it is. So it sounds to me like he probably could find work, but he just won't be working for the police department. Efforts to have Servin's record erased have drawn strong opposition from his Chicago prosecutors who are fighting the move. Boyd's relatives have also spoken out in anger and disgust. Well, I think it's safe to say they're not on the forgiveness train. I don't believe he can be trusted, the victim's brother Martinez Sutton said of Servin. I'm still perturbed that this guy is still out here and he's able to roam around like this. If a judge is stating that, if anything, this case should have been charged as murder, then why should he be able to live a free and happy life and his so-called blemishes erased, he added. Servin shot and killed Boyd in March 2012 after firing a round out of his window. The then officer, who was off duty and in plain clothes, was driving near Douglas Park and on the Chicago West Side when he got into a tiff with a group of teens about their noisiness. Boyd and her friends were standing and talking nearby. When one of the teens suddenly approached Servin's car, the officer said he thought the youth was armed, prompting him to pull his gun and fire a shot through the car window. The bullet grazed the teen but struck Boyd, age 22, who was walking and laughing with friends just feet away. She was struck in the back of the head and succumbed to her injuries the next day. At trial, Servin said he opened fire because he thought one of Boyd's friends had a gun. That gun turned out to be a cell phone. Now, mind you, he was trying to kill one of the friends and ended up killing an innocent bystander. They are both innocent, to be quite honest, because the one he was firing to get the shot to didn't have a gun himself. And notice it said he shot from his car. He wasn't out of the car. What does that sound like? That sounds like a drive-by. That's how a drive-by works. You drive by while shooting, and that's basically how she died. That is not proper police protocol, to my knowledge. But then again, they don't fuck protocol as far as they're concerned. Outrage ensued. The embattled officer was allowed to resign from Chicago PD just days before evidentiary hearing with the city's police board, which was mulling his termination. Because he quit, Servin was allowed to keep his $57,000 a year cop pension. Now, his lawyer says the allowance simply isn't cutting. So basically, this guy is still getting paid from his pension, and apparently it's not enough for him, I guess, to keep up his lifestyle. Then downsize then. You're lucky you're even allowed to still keep that. It said he has the right to seek a job without the criminal case affecting him, said of Servin. He should be able to be gainfully employed and support his family. Boyd's brother said he was perturbed by the idea of Servin joining another police force and said whatever pain the ex-cop has suffered pales in comparison to what he and his family have gone through. He suffered for the past few years when we have to suffer for the rest of our lives, Sutton said of the Tribune. I like this level-headedness that this brother has. It seems to me like it just happened yesterday. A hearing on Servin's expungement has been scheduled for next month. Now it looks like I'm going to have to keep an eye on this. Hopefully they do not expunge this pig's record. All because he's suffering a little financial setback. But I didn't know he was still receiving his pension. But learning that he was able to resign, I can see that. So like basically he's capped off. He can't earn any more than what he was earning when he was forced to resign. He's lucky he wasn't forced to be fired. But he has a lot of nerve to want to ask for his record to be expunged because he is suffering financial hardships. I want to know what the cost of living is up in Chicago. Like I said, he better downsize. Get yourself an efficiency apartment or something. Because I truly believe that he should not have his record expunged. And I definitely believe his ass should have been in jail. I don't know how they undercharged him and gave him manslaughter, but maybe they thought that was the one they could get him on because they didn't feel that it was murder one. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.